My name is Jack Enterline, and I consider myself very lucky to have such a close relationship with my grandpa. We have been very close since I was a little boy, and he would always tell me stories of his time serving in the Navy stationed in Cuba around the time of the Vietnam War. I thought these stories that he would tell me were just the coolest and most fascinating thing ever. And today we'll be talking with my grandpa, Bill Hemphill, and recounting some of these stories. How you doing today, Bill?
Fine. You can call me Grandpa.
I could, yes, I will do that, Grandpa. All right. So for starters, where did you serve?
Well, I basically served about a year at Guantanamo. I went into the service on November 22nd, 1963, which was the day that Kennedy was assassinated. So we got to the base and we were sequestered for 6 weeks because they were concerned about a conspiracy, so everybody was just confined to base. So after that, I went to Norfolk for a couple weeks, and then from there I was transferred to Cuba. So I got there and I got appointed to the admiral staff, and I was appointed to, he appointed me then to the radio TV station, which was nice because it was away from everybody. It was out on a little peninsula that stuck out into the Gulf, and so we lived there.
And you said your reason for serving was Vietnam, right?
Well, I got drafted. After you graduate from college back then, they just snapped you up. They wanted warm bodies. I was told I had about a month to make up my mind whether I wanted to go. When you were drafted, you went to the Army. But I didn't particularly want to go into the Army. So I decided I'd just rather go to the Navy. Besides, I like the ocean. Beach.
A certain individual named Fidel Castro was in power. Tell me a little bit about him.
Well, we monitored him pretty closely. Castro was a long-winded son of a gun. I mean, he'd start talking. He just loved to hear himself talk.
He controlled the news, so...
He controlled everything. We would broadcast propaganda into Cuba. So, he objected to that mightily. So there were several attempts to knock the radio station off, but nothing succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
But he controlled everything. I mean, those people were... One of the fascinating things about being there was you saw very starkly the difference between our way of life, which was capitalism, and the communist way of life. I mean, Castro controlled every aspect of their life. They were given coupons every month for a dozen eggs or so many pounds of meat, and that was it. Basically, that's what they had to survive on. We fished a lot, so we gave them all the fish we could catch.
How did you view the world differently after your time serving?
Well, I gained a greater appreciation for the things we had versus what they had. Most of the Caribbean is very poor, but the Cubans had the additional problem of having Castro, and it was like Hitler's Germany. The natives were considered like slaves. We would hear stories because some of the Cubans would sneak over and tell us what was going on, and occasionally we'd get a body float down the river.
I couldn't imagine even, remotely coming close to doing what you were doing, serving in the Navy, even if you didn't see much combat.
Oh, I was lucky. I didn't see any combat.
I always like to say my grandpa was an American badass in Cuba.
More like fat ass.
Yeah, thank you so much for telling me about the experiences.
Okay. I didn't tell you all the good ones.
That's a story for another day, huh?
Okay. Nice talking to you.
You as well.